Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Shanon Show. This is episode number 11. Make sure everyone, you guys, subscribe so you don't miss a single episode and you see all of the clips. And I'm going to start uploading some more deleted scenes, all sorts of good stuff. And make sure to follow the Shanon Show on Instagram so you can find out who the guest is for every week. And speaking of the guest, here today we have Andrew Barnes joining us on the Shanon Show. How are you, Andrew?
Man? I am fantastic. How about you?
I'm doing great. I'm very happy to have you on. I feel like it's been a long time coming, and finally we got you on the show.
Yes, sir.
So, something I do with all the guests, just want a little bit of background on you, because Military Kid Podcast, the best Military Kid podcast on the internet. Just let everyone know where you've lived.
So I've lived in loads of places. I've lived in California, Oklahoma, Virginia, North Carolina, Maryland, Okinawa, all sorts of places. Absolutely.
Which one would you say is your favorite?
It's a hard question.
It is a hard one.
Probably Maryland.
Maryland?
Yeah.
And that's where you are now, correct?
Yeah.
So you're going into your senior year of high school.
That's correct.
Yes, the same transition I had to do, leaving after your junior year in Okinawa, Japan, and going to one school for your senior year. It's tough, but I mean, did you already have some friends there beforehand, or is this totally new?
Yeah. So
that's good.
I lived here before. I lived in Oki, so coming back, I had a few friends. So it's
That's
fun.
good. That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
So, do you have any idea of what your college plans or plans for the future as of right now? I know you still have this year to.
Oh man, I don't know. I'm starting to look at schools to apply to. I'm still not sure where yet, and yeah, kind of go from there. I'm not really sure what I want to do, like career-wise, but yeah, who does,
Yeah,
you know?
tough. Yeah, that's true. I highly recommend Penn State, by the way. Kind of just had big Owen Singley up here this past weekend. He was touring the campus.
Yeah.
It was good to see him. So yeah, come up. Would love to have you up here, obviously. So where I met him was in Okinawa, Japan, at Kubasaki High School, like a lot of my guests. And was your freshman year there your first year on the island?
Yeah.
All right. So that was your first year, and you joined the Kubasaki baseball team, which is always a great experience for a freshman. So please, what was it like? What did you expect going onto the team your freshman year coming in?
I'll tell you one thing, I did not expect what it actually was. I'll tell you that much. I don't know. I played on a few teams, like growing up, obviously playing baseball, and nothing had prepared me for what was in store for me my freshman year. Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys were nice. It was a fun time, but nothing. I wasn't ready for that.
Right. So we'll get into a little more specific. So you got to work very closely with a friend of the show, Eric Gansey. Shout out Eric. We had him on the show. Very nice guy. We've turned over a new page, him and I.
Yeah.
And you worked with him because you were a catcher. I'm not sure if you caught before then, but you ended up becoming a catcher at least for your freshman year and working closely with Eric, who was the senior catcher on the team. What was it that like your relationship with him?
I mean, I wouldn't say we were close, but we definitely had our moments. He was a friendly dude. He was a great dude. A good captain, if you could call it that.
Debatable.
Yeah, debatable. But yeah, we weren't the best of friends, but I could always turn to him, and he was always nice, so that was good.
Yeah, and he wasn't afraid to call you out whenever you were playing like shit either, which is very
Absolutely.
captain-like, I guess. So, but despite not being the starting catcher, you still had the opportunity to come with us to Far East that year mostly as a pinch runner, actually. I'm not sure how much you caught. I'm not sure if you pitched at that Far East. Did you expect to be going to Far East and then you got there? What was that like, baseball-wise, being a part of that?
So I remember Toor was telling me that like I was gonna be the one to go to Far East, and I was like, what? Like what? I was like, in the games I've caught, like I've absolutely bombed. So it's like, okay, like I'll go. So I go. Unexpectedly, or I guess expectedly, I did not catch a single inning. In all 3 days we played. But I did run a bit, like you said, and I mean, at least I got to touch the field, you know? Like,
Yeah,
that's
I
all
mean,
you
it's
can
better to be
ask
there
for.
than not be there.
Absolutely, and it was a great experience, more or less, I guess.
Yeah. And then the trip we had before the Far East trip that year was the trip to Tokyo. And I've covered this trip extensively on this channel, especially in Johnny's episode. I'll put that up somewhere so you guys can look at that if you haven't already. Highly recommend. There is a story that's notorious for that trip between Eric Gansey and I. And towards the end, whenever you guys were coming back to my room, you end up holding onto my leg, and I turned and I look at you. I was this close to getting away. My life was in danger, and I escaped. Would have escaped, that is, if Chowder was not holding onto my leg. How did you get in that situation? I just want to hear it from your perspective as a freshman.
Look, man. Okay. Stuff
I
that
thought we
happened
were
on that trip.
friends.
The things that happened on that trip, nothing was personal. At least from my end, nothing was personal. And I was so in my mind, I was like, I remember, tuck and roll, tuck and roll. You tuck and roll. You got to get out of there, man. So I get on the floor. I hit the deck, man. I hit the deck, and I just remember. Just like these pounding noises, just pounding, like people just beating each other up. And I'm terrified, man. I'm terrified. And I just see like this wonderful man standing 6'4", approximately a sophomore. I see him, and I was terrified for my life. I had to grab onto something, man. So I grab your leg. I had to do it for survival. If I didn't, Eric would have gotten me, man.
Dude, you were holding me back. What do you mean? This is not for your survival. I was trying to get out. You were a straggler. This was bad on your end.
No. This was indirectly to save myself. Okay. If I did not help, I was labeled as a traitor, man. I had to do what I had to do.
Okay. Understandable. Okay. I knew. Good to hear from your side, I guess.
We can't leave out when you look down at me, and you
Yes.
just looked me dead in the eye, and you said, Chowder.
Dude, I was heartbroken. We were friends, and I was so close to escaping these beasts who were beating me. And I was about to get into the hallway where it was at least somewhat safe, and I never thought you'd be the one holding me back. Whatever, it's over. It is what it is. I do want to ask, how did you get the nickname Chowder? Because I don't remember exactly.
Okay, yeah, I'm not even sure, man. Like, I honestly could
Yeah.
not tell you, but I just remember on the field, it was me, and you remember Bryson, the other catcher?
Yes. Shout out Bryson, fan of the show
Yeah.
as well.
Yes, sir. Yeah, so, we were sitting there, we were doing the drills. That was when Eric used to run the catching drills, and he would like do them by himself, and coach would
Yeah.
work with like whoever. But we were alone, and we were just sitting there, and we were kind of in a lull of the drill, and he just looks at me and he's like, "You guys need nicknames. You guys are new. You guys need nicknames." I'm like, "Okay." So he looks at Bryson. And he's like, "You're Peanut." I was like, at this point,
I forgot about that.
I internally lost it. I was like, what? Like, what? Like, why is he Peanut? But I was like, okay, whatever. And then he looks at me and he's like, you're Chowder. I'm like, what? It's like clam
It's a great
chowder?
name.
Like
Yeah.
clam chowder? He's like, no, like the purple guy from the show. I'm like, what? How do I look even remotely to him?
I thought you looked more similar to the kid from Monster House that they called Chowder. That kid.
Dude, I don't know. There's no logic there. That was just.
It was just Eric's brain at the time. I didn't know that. I was hoping there'd be more of a story, but that's interesting. It was just Eric's discretion. Peanut's a great one, though. He is kind of shaped like a peanut. When was
true.
your first
Yeah.
Far East? I think it was. We went on that trip and we went to the baseball stadium, the Korean professional baseball game. Yes. Do you remember this? This is the only night that I think you and I spent together, like extensively, was at this stadium.
Yeah.
And we're running around in like the upper bowl of this stadium's huge, by the way. Like it's a big stadium. It's like
enormous. It's probably one of
Yeah.
the biggest things I've ever seen.
yes.
Like for getting into the game for $5, this stadium was insane. Like it was
It was a
enormous.
great deal.
It was easily like a mile like in parameter or in
Yes.
perimeter.
Yes. So in a Korean baseball game, I'm not sure if you guys know, but they have like it's totally different than MLB. They have like cheerleaders dancing and they have like these big chants and
It's
everyone's in
so
unison,
strange.
like doing these like
It's so strange.
tomahawk chops. Yeah, very weird. So we don't really care about the baseball that much. We're running around at the top, just like meeting people for like 2.5 hours straight. We're just meeting guys, we're hugging random people, we're just like, and they don't speak a lot of English. We obviously don't know any Korean, and I don't even know where to touch on first. Do you remember when we ran up to the cameraman and we were trying to get on the camera?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, we're like,
yes,
I'm
yes.
also filming the game on Snapchat next to him while he's filming the game on his actual camera.
Yeah.
Uh, Another thing, we had the big Go Twins poster, and we folded a giant paper airplane, and we were trying to throw it, and we're like, we're gonna throw it. This is gonna go all the way down on the field, and then you throw it, and it just lands like right next to our feet, and it just goes
Yeah.
straight down.
I vividly remember just you borderline harassing the cameraman to let you film with the camera. Like this thing's huge. Like it's mounted to the ground. And this guy probably does not speak a lick of English, but this guy
Right.
is not budging. He's not moving. And Shannon's like, "Camera, let me use, please let me use the camera." And this guy is like, He's like still holding it. He's like, mm-mm. And
He's
you're just
dedicated to his
berating,
craft.
you're just berating this guy, this innocent man that's just trying to do his job. He's like, please let me use the camera. And it was the
And
funniest thing.
people are like so surprised to see us there. Like I remember every single person we talked to, we're like, who let you in this place? How did you get in? And at one point, the only time where someone told us like we couldn't do something is we grabbed these big flags. Do you remember this? They were and we were like walking down the stairs with these giant flags just waving over the top of the stadium, like we're rallying the troops, like we are the team.
Yeah.
And someone's just like, no, you can't do that. No, no. They take the flags from us and put them back. So that's where the line was drawn.
That's where the line was. Yeah.
That's where the line was drawn. But another thing, remember we saw Coach Toor in the Jumbotron, and then we didn't see him again for the rest of the night?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Like his and Coach Grubb's whereabouts were unknown the entire
Yes.
night. We knew where everyone was on our team, even though we were all spread out. We knew exactly
Yeah.
where we were. We could not find Coach Tour. But then we I don't remember who it was, but someone was like, "Yo, yo, yo," and we're like, "What?" Then we look up, and it's just Coach Tour just sitting there like.
On the Jumbotron. That was just the fact that no one was ever lost during these trips is a miracle. Like
It's insane.
the lack of supervision that went on is,
It's practically illegal. Like
yeah, for kids in a foreign country.
there's like 14, 15, 16-year-olds just like going around this enormous stadium with no boundaries,
Yeah.
and Coach Tour is just on the Jumbotron doing like whatever.
He's got like two girls, one on each side. He's just staring at the Jumbotron. It feels like a dream. I can't believe all this actually happened. Uh, I want to talk about now the second Far East baseball, and another thing that goes on at all of our trips is something that Coach Tor invented called Dawn Patrol. Now, the way you get Dawn Patrol is one, you fail a test, which he makes. He wrote his own textbook on Kubasaki baseball. Very dedicated coach. He has too much free time, but that's besides the point. Or if you do something stupid. It's like if you do anything like remotely stupid, you get Dawn Patrol.
Yeah.
So like say you like innocently lose one of your room keys, Dawn Patrol. Like if you're like 2 minutes late to the bus, Dawn Patrol. Even
Okay,
for
okay,
good
okay,
reason.
okay, okay. No. I'm gonna have to interrupt you there.
Please.
This was not innocent, man. Coach Tour, he looked me dead in the eye, and then looked at Kai Grubbs, and he said, "Shannon, you hold the keys." Okay, okay, and we're like, okay, seems reasonable.
Seems
like,
fair.
like there is substance behind his decision here. And then I want to say 2 hours later, maybe not even 2 hours later, Shannon goes, "Chowder, I don't have the keys." I'm so upset. And we're like, we're like, okay, like it's not that big of a deal. Like we're a little bit frustrated, but it's not that big of a deal because we could just go downstairs and get one, right?
Right, no
But
problem.
no, someone goes and tells the coach that we lost him, and he says, "Oh, you guys got Dawn Patrol."
Wait, who told coach? It
I
was
think
not
it
me.
was, I think it was Kai then,
It was Kai?
because he was tripping.
Yeah, it was Kai. I remember. Yes,
Because
now
I
it
remember
was Kai Groves.
we were trying to get him to go down to the front desk and get a new key, and
Yes.
he was like, "No, I'm just gonna ask coach for one." And we're like,
Yeah.
"No."
You idiot. Yes, it was Kai. We're like, no issue. We'll just go get a new key from the front desk, which would be no issue at all. I'm pretty sure another one of the rooms already did it because we always lose our keys because we're idiots. And Kai Grubbs is like, no, just go ask my dad. Like, no problem. Like, guys, it's not a big deal. I got this. Guys, I got it, man. And he asked his dad, and he's like, yeah, sure, I'll be as a new key. But you got Dawn Patrol the next morning. That Dawn Patrol was bad. So what Dawn Patrol
Yeah.
was you wake up at like 5 a.m. and you have to go out and you just run. You just run.
It
Like
was
it's literally
terrible.
just punishment. It's
It
terrible.
was
And the
terrible.
fact that Coach Grubbs even wants to wake up at this time, like I don't know the reasoning behind this, but he's always like bright-eyed in the morning. He's like, all right, guys, let's go. Come on.
I just remember that like we weren't playing like because it was what's it called like the first round of games or whatever
Mhm.
whatever that's called, and we weren't playing until like 11 or 12 like in the afternoon, and
Yeah.
coach is like, well, Dawn Patrol, you got to get up at 4. Like what? Like why? And it was terrible
Exactly.
because we were all starters, and then we're pumped for the game. We're about to get rested up because we all
Yeah.
passed the test, and then he's just like, nope.
Yeah, we all aced the tests. I remember you had to actually study for those tests, like on the bus through the airport.
Yeah.
Like that was difficult stuff. All the seniors and upperclassmen before us, you all cheated. We know you cheated, and we never said anything. But yeah, you cheated on all of them. We never cheated. Yeah. What was the worst Dawn Patrol you had to do, you think?
Hmm. I think the one that we had to do freshman year at the Tokyo trip, when we had to go to like that
Yeah.
basketball court, and then we had to like run and do like push-ups and stuff. I think that one was like the only real one, because there were like like almost the entire team. Wasn't it like JP and Adam were the only ones that didn't get it?
Yeah, something stupid. I thought that was the one, the Tokyo trip was that big dirt circle.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yes, that's what it was. Yeah, so it's this giant dirt circle that's conveniently so close to our hotel. Don't know why it's there. It's basically a running track in the middle of Tokyo, but it's just
Yeah.
dirt. And it's unbelievable because you can't find a square of dirt anywhere in Tokyo except for this giant patch conveniently located for our physical activity that morning. And we're like actually doing sit-ups and running like multiple laps. Like I felt like I was out there for
Yeah,
forever.
yeah.
There's a picture of all of us together, and I'm in the back like this. Just, I'll put that picture up. It was bad. It was bad.
We're just all looking dead. We're all wearing like
Yes,
hoodies and sweats, and we're out there with our hands in our pockets. We're like,
because it's cold too.
yeah, it's freezing cold, and we had to go run. But I think that one was the worst one. The one, my sophomore year when it was just us three. That wasn't that bad. It was just like, it was just inconvenient. Like it was just
Yeah,
frustrating
it
because we
was
didn't
almost
have
kind
to
of
do it.
cool because we ran out on that bridge, right?
Yeah, we went on the bridge and
Yeah,
we saw
so
like
that
that.
was that was fine. And Kai took a picture of us, so I'll try and get that picture. I'm saying I'm gonna get all these things for you. I'll work on it. Pretty cool picture
No
in the
promises.
middle of this river in South Korea. Also on that trip, so three of us were roommates, and did we have AC in that room? It was like boiling hot in that room. What was up with that? Why is it so hot in there?
No, we did not have AC in there. But me being the intellectual that I am, I came up with
Terrible idea.
a brilliant idea to hook up a hair dryer. The
Hair
hair
dryer, which
dryer.
by the way produces heat. This is something that like it's a heat producing tool, and you tie it around a lamp and you just turn it on.
No. You had the story all twisted. Okay. They had two settings. Oh no, it had three settings.
Three settings.
It had hot, off, and then cool. To put it on cool, and I swear, it was not much stronger than you just exhaling. Like it was not. It was just not working, and
No, it didn't do anything.
it was so hot. And I vividly remember, just there were so many mosquitoes in there too, because we
Yeah,
left
it
the
was
window
gross.
open because it was so hot.
Yeah.
And then we'd all wake up and we'd be
Rookie
like,
mistake.
oh,
Like
yeah,
mosquito bites all
mistake.
over. Yeah. I remember, maybe it was Kai Grubbs. He went up to it and he was like turning it back and forth. He's like, "Look, it's oscillating." I'm like, "Yep, that's it."
Oscillating.
I didn't know he knew a word that big. But that night we were trying to go to sleep and we just could not because we were having all these stupid conversations. I won't get into what we were talking about, but in the end, Kai Grubbs, or was it you, starts playing this like Minecraft soundtrack. Just like, and Kai's like, it helps me fall asleep.
No. Okay. So I remember that I was telling you guys how I always fall asleep with music on because it's just soothing.
Oh, it was you, yeah.
And then I was like, you know what I haven't listened to in forever? Minecraft music. And
Right.
I look up a 10-hour length version of Minecraft music, it's like in rotation. And I just play it. And I remember waking up like the following morning and it's still playing. And we're like, yo,
Turn that off.
yeah. I remember I blasted it full volume and you're like, can't you turn it down? Like you were so frustrated.
I was so done with you guys, but it was not the worst room assignment I had.
Absolutely not.
So another trip we went on where I have memories of old Chowder Barns was the Bangkok trip to Thailand, and I've already covered on the channel before what my night in Bangkok was on this particular night, searching for Downy in Bangkok with George and Johnny and Owen. But you were off doing your own thing with Ralph and Sammy, I believe. Tell me what happened on that night for you guys, because I just remember there being some pictures of you guys with these random people, and you had the ugliest shirts that said Bangkok in them. That was black, and it was like all yellow shirt, just this ugly attire. What happened?
Okay, so I mean, I guess you have to set the scene a little bit, have a
Please.
little bit of perspective. So, we had all been given these elephant pants that are
Yes.
notorious in Bangkok, and we're all wearing them. We're looking a fool, like just walking around all matching. This is like, I don't even know what to say, but
It's such a bad look.
absolutely. But we're walking downtown around, and unfortunately, the night did not go well to start. You know the bathrooms. Did you ever go in the bathrooms there?
I don't think so. I don't think I did.
So they had toilets, like they had actual toilets, not like the squat
Yes.
things. Okay, but they had, instead of toilet paper, they had the spray thing, right?
Yes, I
They
understand.
had the spray hose thing. And we had to really use a bathroom, right? And then there was this vending machine that had Kleenexes, and we were forced to use the Kleenexes. And
No,
that just
please don't.
started the night off really
Why didn't
rocky.
you use the bidet? Why'd you
No,
use
listen, it wasn't a bidet. It was like the gun attachment to the hose. Like, you know,
Oh, you had to do it yourself?
you gotta like go and then, yeah.
So you got tissues from a vending machine instead of using that. That is so disgusting. Okay.
Anyways, that happened. We were a little bit scarred. We had a little that was just bad. That was a bad start. So then we just end up walking around. We get some food at a really expensive restaurant, rather
Yeah.
overpriced, I'd say. We're walking around and just Ralph's the character. He's a weird
For
guy. So he decides that it would be fun if we'd go around and just bug random people that don't even speak English and ask them for pictures. And
Sounds
we're like, yeah, okay. Like, there's nothing else to do. We're there for like 3 hours, something like that. And we're just going around. We're just snapping pictures of each other, and it was odd. But I remember vividly. Me and Nick, we split off from the group, and we go to this like stand, I guess, like little stand thing they had going on. And it was for a massage thing. And I just remember
Please.
this like overweight guy just massaging Nick. And at the end, he goes, wait, and he goes in the back. And he gets his towel and he just puts it around his shoulders and he taps his shoulders. He goes, "You looking fresh?" And I was just dying. Like, it was the funniest thing ever.
Nick got a street side massage.
He did. Without
I
a shadow of a
didn't know
doubt,
that
he
either.
did. Yeah, this is all when
This is
Bryce
all in one
missed-
night. Yes.
Yes,
Yes. This is
absolutely, yeah.
whenever I'm thinking we lost our teammate. Nick is getting a massage out on the corner.
Yeah. But yeah, it was an odd night, man. I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, that's funny. So another thing that happened on that trip was we got talked to before we got to this holy Buddha site that's like a big deal for the people in Thailand. They have it's like this giant Buddha that's inside and he's laying down and it's kind of weird for Americans to go to.
Yeah, it
I mean,
is
it's just
quite
very
odd.
odd. But
Mhm.
we go there and one of the parents or the coaches are like, "Hey, look, we can't be messing around in here. Like this is a big deal to these people." I took that talk to very seriously. You, on the other hand, and Sammy did not take this very seriously. You go in there, and I'm just like, I'm so embarrassed because I see you guys are like playing tag or something, and you're like flashing, you're pulling up your shirts because all the Buddhas are shirtless, right? So they're all like, because that's what he looks like. And they're like, hey, look, let me get a picture with my shirt up too next to the Buddha. That'll be hilarious. So they're flashing their bobs in all these pictures. I'll have to show one of the pictures up right now. And so what was that from your perspective, and what were you thinking?
Man, if you knew me any more than you already do, you would know that I don't do much in the department of thinking.
Yes.
Especially when it comes to engaging with Sammy and the others.
Yeah, you guys just do
So
it.
we're just struck with some kind of emotion, some spiritual emotion that just conveys us to do these actions, and then we go through with them. That's all there is to say.
Right. So the last segment I have for us, Chowder, is I'm calling it once and for all because there were some debates ongoing that we had on the baseball team. This is nowhere near all of them, but I have 7 right here, and we're gonna go through them, and you're gonna give me the final verdict on these things because these things may never be officially settled amongst the team, but only you, can give me an answer that I can trust because I highly respect your intellectual abilities.
Thank you.
Number one, once and for all. Who's the real athlete in the Widely family, Zoey or Max?
Zoey.
It's
Not even a
close.
doubt.
Not even
Not even a
close.
doubt
Oh
in
my
my
gosh, it's
mind.
by a
It's
landslide.
Zoey. It's Zoey.
We
100%.
used to call Zoe Max because she was the dude in that family. Like it was,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a real shame.
She was ripped, man, dude. Her biceps
Absolutely
are enormous.
jacked.
It's so crazy. Like Max would
That's
be in the
nothing
mirror, like
against
flexing.
Max.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard bar to like pass, you know.
Yeah, understandable. I'd have to agree with you. I texted Max. I was like, "Hey, do you think Zoe would want to come on the show?" And he's like, "Why don't you ask me?" I was like, "Oh my bad." He's like, "You don't even know her." I'm like, "And?" So if Zoe, you're watching, would love to have you on the show, and Max at some point, I suppose. Once and for all, number 2, did Ralph really have a hangnail or ingrown toenail? Do you remember this? He was like out for the season
Gosh.
because of his toe.
I do remember this. I remember this.
Was it true?
I think I could give you 2 different answers on whether or not he had one or whether or not I believed him. And
Okay.
If he had one, I would say no. And if you asked me if I believed him and that he did have one, I would say yes.
Okay. I remember I was kind of questioning it. See, I'm like, what? And I talked to Carolina one day and she was like, this is when I knew it was fake because she was like doing that dramatic Carolina voice where she's like, oh, he had to go to the hospital and have surgery on his ingrown toenail. I'm like, what are you talking about? Didn't happen. Did not happen. Number 3, once and for all, who's smarter, Owen or Isaac?
Oh man, that's actually difficult.
Yeah, I would say it is pretty difficult. What are you thinking? I mean, there's some evidence for both of them. They're both gentlemen in every single way.
Absolutely. Real gents.
But in terms of intellectual, or is it a tie? It's kind of a cop-out answer, though.
Man. I just don't think the world will ever know, man. I really don't.
That's one of those things.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things.
That's tough. I'm sure if I asked Owen, he would say Isaac, and if I asked Isaac, he would say Owen. So
Yeah, absolutely. Really tells
is
us
a
our
fair thing.
character.
Yeah, great character. Number 4, was the turf slippery? Genuine question.
It was undoubtedly extremely slippery. So
So
slippery.
I'm not
I
sure if I've
remember.
talked about this. Go ahead, please.
I was up to bat, and I think this was in like the first bat rotation. So
Yeah.
everyone was going up for the first time. I think I can't remember how I got on base, but I remember I got on base, and the turf was so wet. Like it was so wet. Like it was practically a pool. And I remember
Okay.
I was stealing because coach always had me steal no matter what. Always
some
first pitch
reason.
steal. Yeah. Nah. Anyways, I just remember I was stealing. I was running, and I go in for the slide, and I clear the bag. Like I go straight over
Right.
it. It was so slippery. Like it just carried me all the way to the outfield, man.
Yes, and the same thing happened to the ASIJ kid, and this is where we got the quote, because someone did a skit on this as well, was their coach just has this complete meltdown. He's like, the turf is slippery. And he's just yelling at the umpires. He's trying to say that the runner should not have been out because he slid over the bag, only because the turf was slippery, which is not an excuse. Anyways, very funny. So
That's
yes,
solid logic.
yes, you have first-hand account. The turf was indeed slippery.
It was.
Next one, who was a better baseball player? My junior year, your sophomore year, Downy or Thibert?
Oh man.
I've always been a Downy guy,
So have I.
but
So have I. Absolutely.
comparing
I still am.
their
I still
baseball
am. I love
abilities, still to this day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Comparing just their ability to make plays on the field and off the field. Man, here's the deal. Here's the problem. Here's the problem.
Okay.
Thibert was like undoubtedly known for his lucky plays. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember this, but I think it was in a game. I think it was in one of the double headers against the against the locals. But
Yeah.
he like slid on both of his knees and like kind of leaned back and caught a fly
Oh,
ball
I remember that.
like this.
Yeah, that
And
garbage.
he was like this, and he was
Mhm.
looking away, and we have no idea how he got it, but he managed to do it almost like every single time, and it was insane.
Everyone's going crazy like it's an ESPN catch. And we're
Yeah.
like, no, his eyes are closed. He doesn't know what he's doing. Like he's on T-Bear auto mode.
Yeah. But I have no clue. But Bryson also like
He
just
had some lucky hits too.
he did. But he also took criticism like abnormally well. Like he was really good at like taking
Mhm.
criticism. I'd have to go with Bryson here. Unbiased, of course.
Unbiased, even though we're both Downy guys.
Yeah.
Bryson, I would agree. I'll never forget his hit in Bangkok. It was like the first game, and he just rips a double down the right field line, and he drops the bat, and he's so surprised he hit the ball, and he got a hit before I did that season, and that was just like,
Dude, he was like a
what
deer in
shame.
headlights right there.
Yeah. Next one. What is your real nickname, Chowder or Chunk?
Man, that's
Sammy always called you Chunk. I never understood the Chunk. You're not that chunk-like. I don't know. I felt like that was always a bit rude. I thought Chowder was the original, but what do you think?
you know, I think it's whoever you ask, you know, because Nick still to this day calls me Chunk, and George, he's believe it or not, I swear to God and on my life, he has never once called me by my real name, never once. When we first met George, we walked out to him, and Sammy was like, "This is my friend George. You just moved here. This is Chunk." And George said, "Hey, Chunk," and offered me his hand.
That sounds like him.
And like he's never called me Andrew in his life.
Am I the only one who still routinely calls you Chowder?
Yeah, I think you're the only one. I think
That's a
it's
shame.
you. No, actually, no. All the gents call me Chowder.
Yeah.
Like you, Owen, Isaac, all of them. Hoppy.
Yeah. So, in my opinion, Chowder's the name. If you ask the dogs, I guess it's Chunk. And that brings us to our last question. And I'm glad you brought him up for me. Is George Glover a dog or a gent?
Oh man, This is a hot topic right here.
It might have to have its own episode entirely. I was thinking about this. We could have a trial for him. So we'll have some people represent him to be on the dogs, and I'll have a few gents on to present their cases, and maybe I'll be the judge, and we can have the trial of George Glover.
That sounds like
That
really
sounds
fun. That sounds super fun.
I mean, there's a lot of evidence for both sides, but just
There
right
is.
now, what's your feeling?
You know, as George is a good friend and family, I'd have to go with the dogs, but
Unbelievable. You know, I would agree with you in a way, but he's always begging to be a part of the gents. He wants to be a part of the gents, but
yeah, I don't really know. I don't know what his standpoint is. Maybe he was non-consensually initiated into the dogs, and he wants to be in the gents, you know.
yeah,
But
I guess we'll have to carry out the trial.
we'll have to figure that out.
Yeah, we'll definitely look into it. So stay tuned for that. And as always, this has been the Shan Show, episode number 11. And as always, is the best military kids podcast on the internet. Andrew, where can they find you on social media or whatnot?
So you can find me on Instagram at DrewMadeItX, and
sir.
my SoundCloud is soundcloud.com/AndrewBarnes1. Yeah, follow that up.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Everyone go check it out. He's a talented musician. I have seen some of it. I am as well. I'm not sure if you want to collab.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I've
Yeah,
retired.
maybe-
I've retired from the rap game. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. No one checked that out. It was a pleasure, as always, catching up with you and doing the show. See you guys next week for episode 12. So yes, I agree. The other fundraiser we did was the Kubasaki baseball fundraiser softball tournament, where we got a bunch of 40-year-old drunk men out there playing softball, and they all paid money to enter, and all the money went to our team, but we had to host it. So we were umpiring, and I was announcing the game on the microphone too. So it's set up for disaster. You have a bunch of high school kids umpiring these guys get so incredibly hostile if we make a bad call. It's
Yeah,
unbelievable.
yeah.
They get really heated. So do you have any memories from that, either from you umpiring, or did you ever join me in the booth calling the games?
I did not. I
What a
was pretty
shame.
much on the field the entire time.
Yeah.
But I do remember, like, before there was like this sense of tranquility and just naiveness when we all met at the field beforehand, and we
Yes.
were all ready to go. And I remember it was me, Nick, Max, and Ralph. And we were sitting on one of like the light post things,
Mhm.
like those big concrete boxes on the bottom. But
Yeah.
we were sitting on them, and we were just blasting music. And I just remember we had no clue what we were getting into, man. Like,
No one did.
These people were insane, man. Like, actually, like we're I want to say the majority of us were 16, 17.
Yeah.
There's no way that we would make good calls 100% of the time, even 80%. Like 50% is a stretch. And they would get so upset, and it was not a good time.
And there's no trophy at the end. Like, there's no grand prize, I'm pretty sure. Like, these
There's
guys
no
are just
gratification for winning. at all.
exactly. So, and they're like cussing us out for these bad calls, and we're like, we're not. And the worst part was whenever you would have someone like Max out there who's like unsure, like he doesn't really care. He's like safer out. He's like, safe. Yeah, maybe. So yeah, and then I was getting a lot of heat for things I was saying on the mic too. It was a good time, but yeah, they were intense. They are the single reason why I will never play men's softball.
Yeah, I don't know if I would ever find myself in that position.
No, I will never want to be like them.
Absolutely not.
Such a sad scene. Unbelievable. Doesn't Nick still play softball?
He
Men's
does.
softball?
I think George also is playing with him as well.
Good
I
for
don't
them.
know. Yeah, I mean, do whatever makes you happy, man. Rip bombs off of a 10-mile-an-hour ball. It's
Yeah,
dope.
do that. Knock your socks off. I'll sit on the sideline.